Okay, I'm back to my videos. Now, the subject is homeless. This is homeless part 2. Now, going back to these smart politicians that's sitting up here and they don't know what to do about their homeless population, and they don't know, it's just so out of control. We have no control over the homeless. We don't have, the homeless people is not your problem. And I'm going to say this again, the homeless people is not your problem. You're sitting up here, you're creating everything else except jobs. You're sitting up here, you're creating everything else except education for the homeless. That means that if they've been out of work for a minute, that means they're going to need upgrade education, job training. They're going to need computer training since this is new technology. So the homeless people is not the problem. You are the problem. You are, the politicians are the problem. You are the problem. The city officials are the problem. Because whenever you are mayor of a city and you allow your city to turn into tent city, something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. As a mayor of a city, that means that the mayor is like the babysitter of the city. That means that why would you tolerate tents all over the city instead of putting tiny houses in location where if people is so tired of, I'm so tired of seeing the homeless, I'm so tired, well then there's plenty of land in other locations. So therefore you could set up your own little tiny house community with stores and coffee shops and stuff where they still live as a human being, where they still live in a social environment. Except it's for the homeless community, in their tiny house community. They still can shop, they still can do everything that everybody else can. Since you don't like the sight of homelessness, then you should be building tiny houses community. I think that is the most cheapest route than building all kind of shelters, and the shelters don't work. Or you cripple people by allowing people to stay in the shelter over 5 to 10 years. That's crippling. That means I don't have to do nothing. Shoot, you're going to pay for everything. You're paying for my food. You're paying for everything. I don't have to do anything but stay up here for about 10 years. Well, basically, that's crippling the mind, and it's crippling that adult from keep on functioning as an adult. So therefore, you're not helping by allowing people to stay in the shelter for 5 and 10 years for free, for not doing nothing. So that's not helping neither. The route that I'm saying is that you need to get into the tiny house, and you need to be building tiny houses and teaching people how to be self-sufficient. So therefore, they don't have to be begging you for nothing. And if you see them trying to sell water, chips, or something, that's called free enterprise. That's where people are being self-sufficient in their own way, and instead of begging you for $1, they're working for the $1. So therefore, you should be supportive of them. Even if you don't need the water, buy the water. Even if you don't need the bag of chips, at least instead of them begging you for it, at least they're showing that they're making effort to get this money for themselves. No, I don't think that the homeless people is the problem. I think that you are the problem. You're forever complaining about homelessness. You're forever complaining about the homeless, but at the end of the day, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. At the end of the day, you go build all kind of big old golf course, and instead of building tiny houses on those golf courses, wasting all that water. Where's environmental protective agencies at? Because that's wasting water. To water big old grass, to water all that grass, that's a waste of water. That's a waste of money. That's wasteful spending for the city. So maybe the city needs to cut it out. Maybe the city needs to watch its budget, and you need to cut it out. How about that? And then always try to put the homeless into this homeless management system that you don't help them. You don't help them. You don't. You criminalize the homeless. You criminalize them. Being homeless do not make you a criminal. You know what makes you a criminal? Being a shady and corrupt politician. That's what makes you a criminal. Now, at the end of the day, you're a politician, but you're accepting bribes. You're a politician, but you're doing money laundering. You're a politician or you're a city official, but you're embezzling funds. Now, that's what makes you a criminal. Now, I know because you got an education and you got a little higher connection, you see yourself as an angel. But the homeless people are not your problem, honey. At the end of the day, even if you subtract the homeless people from the situation, you still gonna have corruptness. You still gonna have corrupt officials. So therefore, it starts at the head first. You must clean house at the head first and work your way all the way down to the bottom. And I guarantee you that if the head is making sure that everything is in order, then everything else will follow along. And I really do believe that. So you have to get the head first. Now, if the head, the mayor of the city, and you're supposed to be running the city, so therefore, why do you have so much homelessness in your city and so much money is being poured out by the community? You can't say that the people of the community is not giving, because they give, and they do give. I mean, some people of the community give a lot of money, and they're not seeing where the money is going. They're not seeing the homeless issue being solved. They're not seeing people being placed in home more often. So what do you think? What do you think? Well, how do you think that the public is starting to feel? I think that the public is starting to feel drained about this issue. I think that the public is starting to feel frustrated about the issue. Don't you think? I think so. I think that the public trying to figure out where is our money going. Maybe some of these places need to get audited. Maybe that's the only way for anybody to know where the money is going, for it to get audited. Your shelters, your so-called ministry needs to be audited. And fine print, we need to know exactly dollar for dollar where that money is going, because the people is constantly giving money for homelessness. How come these people is still on the street? Matter of fact, the federal government just gave a lot of money for the COVID. Why do you still have people out on the streets in the tenderloins and stuff? Why are they out on the street knowing that it's a dangerous virus out here in the streets? It's floating around, and knowing that it's not clean. There's no way that you could keep yourself 100% clean if you're tenting out on a dirty sidewalk and all kind of dirt and debris all around your tent. How do you keep yourself clean? I think that's just logical. I think that's just common sense. How can you keep yourself clean? You got to do daily hand washing. You got to keep everything clean. You got to be in a clean environment. That means you got to clean up the streets. You got to get them off the streets. And I know that may hurt your little money fund, your contributions and stuff for the homeless. But at the end of the day, it is better for them to be off the streets than to keep spreading all kind of viruses in society. I think so. That's just my own opinion. And I think that I have a right to my own opinion. I think that you need to get people off the streets. That's what I think. I don't think that you need to keep people on the streets to contaminate. People is doing fecal matter all on the street. How clean is that? Fecal matter is the most dirtiest thing for you to mess around, but when they ain't got nowhere to go to the bathroom, they ain't got nowhere to take showers. At the end of the day, what if they don't make the resource center where showers can be done? What if they don't make it? What if a person is really severely mental incompetent of really taking care of themselves, and they need 24-hour care? That's why skilled nurses and nurses is there, because some people are being patient down. That means that they're being thrown out on the streets. Do you know how scary that is to a person that is mentally incompetent? That's almost like taking a 5-year-old and throwing that 5-year-old out there on the street and telling that 5-year-old to survive, and the 5-year-old 5-year-old is incapable of surviving for itself. So that's exactly what happened with people that have very severe mental ill issues, and they're patient dumping these people, and these people are afraid out here on the street. You think that people are afraid of the homeless? No, there is some people that is shocking. It's very shocking for them. What do they do? What do they do? And people are always quick to say, oh, you're homeless, go get a job. Really, sir? I don't have stable housing. I don't have a stable address. I don't have a stable phone, sir. And my clothing is not up to par, sir. And then I'm kind of behind in my training and my skills, sir. So is it just that easy to just go get a job, sir? No, I think that the ones that never had to go through nothing, I think the ones that never ever been in a homeless situation, I think that you're so easy to talk and go do this and go get this, but I don't think that it's just that easy in real life. I think that you got to have it's a process. I think that you got to have stable housing. I think that you got to have a stable address. I think that you need a phone, a workable phone. Some people even have the audacity to say, well, they can afford a phone. Well, honey, a lot of people go right to these free phone places and try to get a free phone because you still need a phone even while you're homeless. What if you're having a heart attack and there's nobody else around? You still need a phone. You need a workable phone. You may not even make it to a Wi-Fi phone. You may not even make it. So all of this blaming the homeless people for the issue, no, you don't want to look at yourself, and you don't want to take responsibility upon yourself. Some of them is taking this money and they're driving nice cars instead of taking care of the homeless. It's like basically you put the homeless in a house and they can buy their own food. Want to feed you all the time as a homeless person, but don't want to provide housing. The main important basic necessity of a human being is that shelter first. And they want to sit up there and feed you. That's good. My stomach is full right now, but my feet and my body needs to lay down and rest in a bed just like you do. So therefore, I need you to provide the housing like you promised when they write their mission statement is to provide housing for the homeless. Well, we expect you to live up to that mission statement for providing housing for the homeless, or you're just lying just to get the money. And this is where the IRS and other organizations should step in and start auditing you. So therefore, you got X amount of time to get X amount of people into housing. If we don't see you get X amount of people into housing, your funding stops. And I bet you if you cut the funding off from some of these organizations, they are going to start doing the right thing, and they're going to start doing right by the people, and the staff too, because I don't been in a situation where the staff have stolen money from the homeless. I mean, they have stolen clothes. I mean, good bags of clothing that the community gave out, and you sit there and you're just watching the staff go through the bags of clothing and picking it out for their children and for me. My daughter gonna look nice in this. You're stealing from the homeless because they don't have nothing, ma'am, but you got a house and you got somewhere to lay your head at night. You got somewhere to put your things at night. The homeless don't have that, ma'am, and you're taking from them. The community give so that the homeless people can be taken care of. So why are they still looking the same way that they came into your place? They still looking like a bum. They came in looking like a bum, and they coming out looking the same way, ma'am. What's going on with your program? I think that the public needs to start asking questions. That's what I believe. The public needs to start asking questions. And these shelters and ministries need to start getting audited. That means, and nobody likes to deal with the IRS. Nobody. If you ever want to put the fear of God in someone, deal with the IRS. Put the IRS on their asses when they got business. I guarantee you they don't want to deal with the IRS. They want to deal with everybody else except the IRS. They're more powerful than the FBI because they will freeze all of your assets. They will freeze all of your arrogant, cocky assets. And then you can't even get into your own bank account. You can't even get a dime out of it because the IRS got it up under their arrest. And you ain't getting in until they finish their investigation with you. So therefore, at the end of the day, if you have a shelter, you have shelters, you have ministry, and you're not doing right by the homeless people, they need to audit you. And then they need to transfer your program into people that will do right by the people. That means that they have a heart for the people. Professional people that's not going to lie to the people, not going to build the people hope up and just to let them down. That's not how God's work. That's not how a professional organization works. And that's not how God works. God is not a person that's going to give you false hope. God is not a person that's going to say, I'll be there for you and don't show up. God will be there and God will show up. So it's like this stuff got to stop. This old stuff. This is almost like feed the children. They've been having this feed the children program ever since I've been a young girl. And you mean to tell me these kids haven't gotten fat yet? They haven't got full yet? Forever push and feed the children. No, it's a money making business. And so we keep on exploiting these people to get more money. But the people is living out here in cold weather. Do you know how sickening that is to the body of a human being? We're not talking about your dogs. We're not talking about your cats. We're talking about real life human being can only take so much cold. Real life human being can only take so much rain and snow and sleep. They can only take so much. So how much more do you need to see the homeless suffer for your research? How much more do you need to evaluate the homeless for your home management system? No, you mean your homeless criminalizing the homeless system, because basically all you're going to do is hand them a piece of paper or tell them to call 211. 211 just refers. They just going to refer them. So basically the person is still going around in circle, around in circle, around in circle. And the people that's always talking about go get a job, provide a job for them.